5, Chairman.
Good afternoon, members.
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Agenda item 1, Chairman's notices. This is the usual. Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Council on the 30th of March 2023. My name is Councillor Boyce and I am the Chairman of the Council. Members, we are streaming this meeting live as well as recording, and by being present in the meeting you are giving your consent to being recorded. During each item, please put your hand up to indicate if you wish to speak. I will then invite you at the appropriate time. Please note that your YouTube live stream sound recording is dependent on the correct use of the microphones. Therefore, can I ask that when invited to speak, you remember to turn on your microphone and turn it off when finished. Please reference the page or paragraph number when referring to the agenda papers and keep your contribution as clear and concise as possible. Agenda item 2, Ms Bird, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chairman. We've got apologies from Councillor Helm, Councillor Huber, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Skeens and Councillor Swain. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Fluker.
Sorry, can I add Councillor Jewett, the member for Tinner?
Councillor Channer.
Thank you. I think Councillor Morgan was read out. He's present, Chairman.
Oh, right. Okay.
And also, can I just say, I can't recall it being Councillor Keys, was it called out? He may be coming later. Councillor Orley, I think, not, and Councillor Hubner has given his, and he won't be here, I believe, for the whole meeting, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, it's my intention to take this business of this meeting in 2 parts, as you have been advised. From now till 5, we'll attempt to get all the public business done. Councillor Fluke, there's no use shaking your head. That's what I'm doing. And we will adjourn the meeting either when we've finished the items up to the P&C items or before. Because it's a 4-hour stint, I intend to have a comfort break in a couple of hours, 3ish. I hope that.
Thank you. Clearly I wasn't listening because I don't understand what you mean. Chairman, are you saying that we're going to deal with all of the public parts, including the motions, or between now and 5 o'clock?
Yeah, hopefully before 5, but if we don't finish by 5, then it'll of course roll over to the evening meeting. But I can't take the P&C items because the officers won't be present this afternoon, they won't be present till this evening. Is that clear?
Well, Chairman, it's clear, but clearly the process is not, because if the officers aren't on standby to hear P&C, and for example, Chairman, say this part of the meeting finished at 3 o'clock.
Well, then we adjourn till 7.
Well, Chairman, it would have been nice to have that been certainly imparted to me, Chairman, and I'm sorry, but I find that very difficult to grasp, and I apologise for standing whilst you were standing.
Right. We've done apologies for absence. Agenda item 3, minutes to confirm the meetings of the Council meeting held on the 22nd of February, pages 7 to 26, and the continuation meeting on the 23rd of February, contained on pages 27 to 36. Councillor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry, I can't find my bit of paper, but I'm sure Miss Bird will assist me. I believe there's some correction on accuracy, Chairman, if I may present those. It makes reference to me declaring an interest to do with the business rates. And I did not do it at that point. I think what's added to confusion was I actually, and I've spoken to Miss Bird, so she is aware, I declared under an item, there were the SNR, Statutory Resources Committee minutes, and I declared under item 7B, agenda item 12, which was to do with council tax, and that was to do with council tax regarding empty properties and second homes. I declared then. I think what happened, you altered the agenda items on the meeting, And it is reflected, hence why I declared it then, and then it shows later on the minutes, and it is recorded correctly that my declaration was indeed in respect of that. It's also then going on to the minutes to do with the main budget debate, Chairman. I haven't got the page before me, but it's to do with Mr Leslie's introduction regarding the budget. And there were 4 bullet points, and I'm afraid on one of them, Chairman, it identifies that the council tax is £6, whatever it was, 35 per week. And of course that was annually, and in fact the council tax value is 12p per week to a Band D property. So I wanted to just correct that. And also then when I sum up, Chairman, under the leader, it does say, it makes reference to things and cost of living and the services. And even though savings were made, but it retained the services that were important to members. I think that word should be residents, Chairman. So I do apologise not having the detail of pages, but Miss Bird is aware, Chairman.
Yes, I'm aware. Miss Bird has sent me the corrections,
thank you,
which can I ask Council that to agree these changes? Yes, go on.
Thank you, Chairman. I like to follow things, and I like to write amendments and changes down. And I've not understood a word what the leader's actually just said. You can't, when you're actually discussing or disagreeing or whatever you want to do with minutes, you're supposed to reference the page number, the minute number, etc. Chairman. So I'm sorry, I will not be agreeing it because I don't know what the leader was talking about. Thank you.
Miss Bird, can you help please with your amendments? Your suggested amendments?
Yes, Chairman, of course. The first one relates to page 8 of the agenda, under item 5, declarations of interest. There's a wrong reference to the agenda item under which Councillor Mrs China declared her interest. It should be agenda item 7B, which is the Strategy and Resources Committee of the 26th of January, agenda item 12, which is the council tax discretionary discount levels. The actual interest that is declared is correct, it's just the reference to the wrong item under that. The second one is in relation to page 9, item 8, which is the 2023-24 budget medium-term financial strategy. Paragraph 4, the 4th bullet point contains an error and should actually refer to £6.35 a year for Band D property, the increase there, not a week as was minuted. And the third also is under agenda item 8, but it's on page 11, and it's paragraph 2, the last sentence should refer to residents rather than members. They're the 3 changes. I'm quite happy if you help, I can forward those to Councillor Stamp, if that would be helpful.
Councillor Stamp?
No, Chairman, I've made them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Councillor Fluker?
Thank you. Just to help things, I'll give way to the...
Thank you. Can I just thank Ms Bird for that, Chairman, because I'm now in my mod.gov, so I'm grateful to her. I had spoken to her before and actually coming up with the page numbers, but I think the essence of what my statement was is as Ms Bird's read out, and she's now applied the details of the exact pages and exactly what item. Thank you, Chairman.
Did you want to say something, Councillor Fluker?
Certainly, thank you, Chairman. Chairman, page 10, I'm not quite sure, it's sort of halfway down, Chairman, and it's the paragraph that starts Councillor Fluker, the ward member for Southminster. And then at the end of that paragraph, it says, this proposal was duly seconded. Well, my understanding was, Chairman, that that was agreed by assent, that we would have this working group. So I want to be... I feel as though those words are missing because at the moment there was a proposal put forward which was right and proper and in the best interests of this council, which was duly seconded and, as far as I'm concerned, agreed by assent of council, but the minutes don't reflect that. So perhaps you could put me in your comfort zone. I don't know if Miss Bird's here. No, she's there. But yeah, I think that needs some kind of clarity because at the moment it's open-ended whether or not this working group is actually going to take place.
Who can help me here? Was there a resolution, Miss Bird?
Just double checking for each other. Bear with me a moment. Sorry. I think that was the proposal that a full budget review be carried out by cross-chamber, cross-committee working group and report back to council with recommendations in the spring. Is that the paragraph I believe Councillor Fluker is referring to?
Is it Councillor Fluker?
Certainly, Chairman, and I made that proposal, and it was duly seconded. And I believe, yes, Chairman, I can't direct the clerk any further than the paragraph Councillor Fluke, the ward member for Southminster.
This is what you're talking about.
Well, absolutely, Chairman.
Right.
Yeah, which is where I signed.
Ms. Bird, what does the minutes say?
The minutes then go on to refer to further questions and discussions that took place, and then a further discussion, and Councillor Fluke withdrew his amendment of the proposed budget. Without checking my notes and checking the tape, I couldn't really advise further than what's minted, Chairman. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Dodson, have you got a view on this?
Again, not from memory, Chairman. I'd have to look at the detail.
Well, Councillor Fluker, we can't agree this particular minute at the moment. It will need, as Miss Bird has said, for her to further check. And all I can say is it will need to go to the next meeting unless you can agree with officers and the clerk a suitable amendment in the meantime. Between now and the statutory annual, I mean.
Chairman, my view is...
We don't accept that minute.
Well, no, Chairman, we do accept that minute because it's absolutely critical, Chairman, to the well-being of the financial position of this council, which is what this is all about. And the reason why I brought this up now was because we know that we probably won't get back to business as usual, this council, until after the statutory annual, which means it's another 3 months down the line, by which time we will be well into the budgetary period. My understanding of when I made this proposal, which I believe was duly seconded by Councillor Stamp, that by assent it was agreed to form. And Chairman, you can imagine why the members agreed, because it is so important that from day one we get into the budget.
I can't confirm or deny what you're saying. If it was by assent, then the tape will show that, and Miss Bird will be able to pick it up from there. If the tape does not show that it was by assent, then it just stands as you made the proposal. It should actually have said it was agreed or not agreed, and I can't help you any more than that. Councillor Stamp.
Thank you, Chairman. Can we actually just defer this set of minutes till tonight?
No,
Why not? It's literally, so I'm sure the clerk, she's excellent, can check the
Miss
tape.
Bird, is that doable?
To check in the break later on, Chairman, yes, I can certainly try.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Good suggestion, Councillor Stam, thank you. Can we...
Sorry. I apologise, that might have sounded patronising. It was meant as a compliment.
Councillor Stevens.
Thank you, Chair. On a completely different and less generic matter, I can't access any of my notes. Would somebody from IT, through you, Chair, be able to come and help me and sort my computer out?
When?
Like now? I can't access any of my notes for today's meeting now. If anyone's available to help me, it would be appreciated.
We can't adjourn the meeting to do that, Ms Stevens. Mr Holmes, is there anybody available on IT at present?
Chairman, I'll do a check on Teams and I'll try and resolve it for you as soon as I can.
Yeah.
It will load, can't
Right. So we agree the minutes, except for that particular one at the moment. Is that agreed? Agreed. Right. Thank you. Agenda item 4: declaration of interests. To disclose the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interests, other registrable interests and non-registrable interests relating to items of business on the agenda, having regard to paragraph 9 and appendix B of the Code of Conduct for members. The members are also reminded they are also required to disclose any such interests as soon as they become aware, should the need arise throughout the meeting. Any declarations of interest? No, thank you. Agenda item 5, public questions. To receive questions from the members of the public by which prior notification in writing has been received. Miss Bird, has any been received?
No, Chairman, we haven't received any.
Right, thank you. Agenda item 6, Chairman's announcements. Now, first of all, under Chairman's announcements, there's a statement a short statement from Mr. Dodson, which is a statement and is not open to debate. Mr. Dodson.
Thank you, Chairman. Statement refers to the 5-year housing land supply. And I can confirm, as of today, the 30th of March 2023, using the Council's present methodology for calculating the 5-year housing land supply, the figure stands at 5.1 years. This figure needs to be caveated with the fact that the work to close the year 2022-23 with regard to the monitoring of the housing figures has not yet been completed, and therefore does not replace the annual housing supply position that requires officers to undertake some verification site visits, complete the check of all council tax and building control records for commencements, completions and expiries. Therefore, this figure may change and could move either up or down once the end of year checks have been completed for the annual 5-year housing land supply report, which will be presented for approval to council at a later date. For now, the work of the 5-year housing land supply working group continues, and it's therefore important to recognise that any change to the methodology it recommends to council could also affect the land supply position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson. Members, I was elected to this council in May 1983, which next May will be 40 years. In that time, there's been many highs and lows. I won't refer to the lows, but you're all aware of the importance of the voluntary sector. And I consider that this council has been a partner of the voluntary sector over that time and have achieved many great things. And members, you are all part of the voluntary sector. It's a council that 28 or more years ago became debt-free because of the stock transfer. We've been debt-free ever since, using the original money that came forward and the right to buy clawback that we had that's brought in many more millions. One of the highs was the £2.3 million we got from Mr. Prescott. I don't remember when, in which we rebuilt the seawall just past the Hythe Quay, along a little way along the Ron Park, reconstituted the valley, put in the splash park and the galleon, which have proved to be a great attraction in this time. I can't claim any achievements for myself, but as a member of this authority, we have many, many achievements. Malden has always punched above its weight. My failure has been the same perhaps as many other of us, not being able to stop inappropriate overdevelopment as we see it. Members, you're part of the voluntary sector. Some of you will be standing down, some of you, the electorate, will stand down. I wish all of you, whether you're standing again, whether you get re-elected, the best of luck. Agenda item 7, minute book. There are no recommendations coming forward from committees. Agenda item 8, minutes of meetings of the council. There's 3 there. Any questions on any of those? No? Thank you. Oh, and there's 4 more underneath. Agenda item 9, notice of motions. Before I call Councillor Fluker, I have decided to disallow also motion 6 under the 6-month rule. This motion 6 is asking to increase the number of committee meetings. The council only last month, or the last meeting, approved the calendar, so I'm disallowing that. I don't know whether you will want to proceed with motion, the first motion, Councillor.
Yes, please, Chairman, and I'll speak to it.
Well, the legal reason, if I give
No,
the
Chairman,
reasons.
I'd like to speak to it. Yes, I'd very much like to hear those and say the SRA.
Well, would you then need the motion? That's what I was going to say.
Well, Chairman, I think I have not, and this is the most shocking thing about this, and not least of all, you're going to reconvene this meeting at 7 o'clock. I've just looked on the website. It's certainly not what the residents of Southminster understood last night. They thought we were starting at 1. And can I just say hello, because I know they're listening in. But according to the website, and according to the summons, Chairman, of this meeting, there is no mention of it being adjourned. So the public think that this meeting is starting at 1 and finishes when the business is concluded, not when you're ruling and saying that we're going to have a break, which potentially, Chairman, could be 4 hours.
It was well advertised in front, Councillor Fluker.
I
Now
look forward
the issue is, are you going to move motion 1, or are you going to allow
thank you.
Ms.
Thank you
Holmes
very
to
much.
give the legal reasons?
No, I'd like to hear the legal, and then I'll move motion 1. I think it's...
Well, I don't. I shall just ask you then to move motion 1.
No. I think...
well,
Chairman,
I'm the chairman, Councillor Fluker.
Chairman,
are you going to move motion 1 or not?
Yeah, I'll give way, because I'm currently someone's listening to this meeting and giving me legal advice, so I'll give way so that I can read that properly. Thank you.
Chairman, can I just actually ask that, because you have actually stopped, which is, well, you're right, which is exactly what you've just said. You've said that you would provide the legal information of why you did, and I think we've got an email, some of us got an email referring to that. So I would only think it's fair, and you don't have to be fair, even though it's nearly your last meeting, Chairman, but it would be really nice for the residents and members that you do explain it, because you have yielded that, Chairman, you've yielded that stick saying that you would tell us why. Now, it's really not fair, Chairman.
All I'm saying is, I don't see the reason for motion 1, which is asking me to give the reasons, if I've given the reasons. I mean but that wouldn't stop me giving the reasons.
Just give her
Miss Holmes, would you like to read out the legal reason, please? Not the loudspeaker. Just down to there.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Would you like me to stand?
Please, yes.
Part 4 of the Constitution, and specifically sections 5.11 and section 7.1, make it clear that members cannot take part in the recruitment or management of officers below director level. These individuals are employed by the council and are accountable to the head of paid service. The working arrangements of staff are an operational matter and dealt with via delegation to the head of paid services and through managers who determine the operational needs of the service and ensure staffing arrangements meet operational need. If the motions were to be passed, the matter would leave the council open to claims against it under both employment and equality legislation. Under the Equality Act, the council must consider reasonable adjustments to be applied in response to the needs of an employee with a disability. Having a blanket requirement for clerks to attend evening meetings would be in breach of the Equality Act, as it would not allow managers to consider and implement reasonable adjustments for its staff. A failure to adapt to the needs of staff could also result in a claim for constructive dismissal.
Thank you, Ms Holmes.
I can't see any reason why that advice could not have been imparted to members in advance of that meeting. I agree partly with it, but not all of it, Chairman. I believe that the council can ask any officer to consider anything in this council, whether it's operational or not. It was asking the head of paid service. The members weren't saying this is what should
Councillor
happen.
Fluker, you've heard the reasons why I have said that it won't be heard.
Right,
so
okay.
There's no argument to be
So,
had.
Chairman, would you allow me to make a short statement in relation to the rest of the motions?
To the rest of the motions,
2, 4, 5, 8.
it's your motions,
Thank you,
Councillor
Chairman.
Fluker.
Chairman, first of all, can I wish you all the best with your retirement? And
I am tempted to stand in Southminster, but
well, Chairman, I understand that is a very busy gig from what I can hear. But Chairman, just between the two of us, I understand that potentially no one's standing in Tillingham, and I wouldn't put it past you. But I think after all these years, if anybody deserves a good, happy retirement, then it's you. And I'm delighted, Chairman, that you've decided to spend the rest of your retirement, I'll put it, in my parish where I live. Thank you. Chairman...
not the one you don't represent, you mean?
Chairman, I'm sorry to change the tone completely of this meeting, but Chairman, I've recently been threatened and bullied and intimidated by this council. I never thought I'd have to stand here and say that after 12 years. We can agree that previously you accepted motions 3 and 7, and I think 6 now, and they were due to be considered at the follow-on meeting on the 22nd of February. But because of my own business commitments that day, Chairman, and the short notice, I had to withdraw and I withdrew the motions. I've noted, Chairman, from the report that you chose to redact motions 3 and 7 on the report contained on page 38 and 39. I find that quite unusual, not least of all because those motions actually appear unredacted verbatim on the council agenda of the 22nd of February. Since this agenda has been published, I've had no end of inquiries about this, why they've been redacted. Why were they just not left there and said, the chairman is ruled they're not going to be considered? That said, I see no reason why you had to redact them on the basis that you were not going to accept them. In my mind, Chairman, the redaction of my motions today adds to my sense of being threatened, bullied and intimidated. Nobody has come to me before this meeting and asked me where we're going with all of this. I would have thought, if nothing else, it would have been polite, Chairman, that someone would have contacted me about the legal advice so that could have been discussed. Why leave it to the last minute? You know, we're not here to showboat, we're here to do the business of council, and that may be rich coming from me. Chairman, in a nutshell, Chairman, I've lost all confidence in this administration of this council and therefore withdraw all of my motions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, in order that they may be considered by the new administration following the elections in May. And I can see a few heads have gone down, Chairman, because I've just done that in accordance with the rules and everybody now has an email, including committee services, Mr Dodson and Miss Hughes, saying that they are withdrawn. Now, thank you.
Is that with the agreement of your seconder?
Certainly, Chairman, and Chairman, it's not only with agreement, it's with hope, Chairman, that at least two of us get re-elected and we'll bring them forward in May.
Can we...
That's it.
I'll just give a few words of explanation. Your numerous motions that have disrupted this council the last couple of meetings, I allowed originally to go forward onto the agenda paper because of motion 1, which says, which bullies the chairman into explaining why. Now, this chairman and all previous chairmans that I've ever known have always explained why motions are not being heard by council and the reasons given. I allowed all your motions to go forward because of motion 1. And the residents of Southminster would, if I disallowed those motions at that time, wouldn't know what motion 1 was talking about, because they wouldn't appear on the agenda paper. And that is why they were all put forward in the first instance. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, I'm not expecting you to respond. I'm just telling you, if there's any bullying, it's the other way round. Because motion 1...
Point of order, Chairman. Points of order, Chairman.
Yeah, point of order. Which rule and...
Rule 2, rule of procedures, Chairman, engaging with members, it's in there, someone. Chairman, based on what the Chairman just said, I report myself to the monitoring officer on the basis that the Chairman has just called me out as a bully.
No,
yes, you did. End of. I'm reported to... I have reported myself to the monitoring.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. But the main thing is that you've withdrawn all your motions. Yeah. And you've wasted this council's time. You've caused this extra afternoon's meeting, which is now, if we finish early, is going to be a long gap between now and 7 o'clock. Thank you, Councillor Fluker.
Well, thank you, Councillor Boyce, because if you'd asked me about this, we would not be in this position. You have a summons that says a meeting starts at 1 o'clock today. If you decide to adjourn for 5 hours, I think that's at the expense of the public. Thank you.
Agenda item 10, questions in accordance with procedure rule 6.3, which notice has been given. I don't believe there have been any. Agenda item 11, appointment of Deputy Electoral Registration Officer, Mr. Dodson. Sorry, Penny. Leader.
Give it to Mr. Dodson.
I will be giving it to Mr. Dodson, I'm sure. But Chairman, this is for Council to appoint the Deputy Electoral Registration Officer to carry out duties in the event that the ERO is not available. And the Electoral Registration Officer cannot appoint the deputy themselves, and hence why this paper has come before Council today. There's nothing onerous in it, Chairman, it's just very good housekeeping, but I will let Mr. Dodson come in now. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, as the leader indicates, this is hopefully a straightforward report, that the lead Elections and Democratic Services Manager be appointed as the Deputy Electoral Registration Officer. As the report says, and as the leader indicated, as returning officer, I'm able to delegate responsibilities, but as in the role of electoral registration officer, that's not in my gift. Hence, I have to ask to council. And under the Election Act, the implementation of the Election Act 2022, specifically the introduction of voter ID, the electoral registration officer is now required to sign temporary voter authority certificates that can be provided for the 5 days, including the day of the election, prior to election day. And that's more specifically the reason for asking for this delegation, to enable that to operate operationally. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Members agree? Agree. Councillor Fluker?
Chairman, I'll just take this opportunity to remind the returning officer who has promised to inspect the suitability of the polling station at Southminster, in particular the disabled access. I looked at it last night, Chairman, it's not in good shape.
That's finding a hook to hang a question on.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
And I was only talking about this just before the meeting.
Listen.
You're the first person in the last 4 years to do so.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, as a point of interest, because obviously I'm very, very interested in the financial success of this council and everything that goes with it. Chairman, in the past, returning officers, we know that they can choose to receive a fee from the government. Can council confirm whether such a fee is being taken and whether the council will be compensated for the loss of time appointed to the post from which the returning officer is appointed? This was something which the chief executive did, Chairman, and I'd be interested.
Mr. Dodson's happy, but actually it is a very, very tenuous hook. Mr Dodson.
Thank you. In relation to the fee for a returning officer, this is a legal requirement. It's not for the returning. It's not a choice of the returning officer. Under the law, then the returning officer and all staff who are working on elections should be paid for that work, separate to their duties for the council, to create a clear line of separation between the council and the duties in relation to the election. So it's not at the discretion of any of those officers or the returning officer. It's part of the Election Act. Thank you.
Is that agreed by members? Agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 12, update of the customer strategy in One Malden District Community Hub, pages 43 to 48. Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. This is exactly what it is. It's an update for members, but they're both are points that members are very interested in, and especially, I think, the Community Hub and particularly, obviously, the customer strategy. I referred to it in my leader's speech. It's currently the review is being undertaken, and the key principles of the strategy, which were endorsed in July 22, Chairman, form the basis of this. It recognises this strategy. I'm very pleased to report, and I know members will be as well, to support residents who are unable to use the digital service. That's a very important part, or online, and ensure we have telephone and face-to-face to avoid exclusion. The 7 principles of which underpin this are contained within the report, Chairman. They're key principles, and also there's key milestones and a timetable. The refreshed customer strategy will reflect new corporate plan and priorities and newly published data and relevant policies. Chairman, if I could perhaps hand over, and the Community Hub update is regarding something that's come out of the One Malden District, whereby it was agreed that we should look into a Community Hub. There's working groups being established, looking at how we actually support the current community hubs, then looking to have a community hub regarding Malden District Council, where its offices may be based. But if I can hand over, I think it's to Mr Holmes on this one, Chairman, I'll be grateful. Thank you very much.
Mr Holmes.
Chairman, actually, it's our customers manager. I'll hand over to Mrs. Green.
Oh,
Mrs Green. Are you here? Oh, right, you are.
Thank you, members. At the back, and we'll stop with me. So the update on the community hub, as the leader has stated, it came out originally of the One Malden District partnership, and it is something that we did have in existence prior to COVID, and it's something that we very much wanted to build on. So we do have a working group that includes members of the voluntary sector. And the intention is that we don't want to create a brand new hub. The first thing we want to do is actually to work with the hubs that are already out there, because one of the things that our voluntary partners have said loud and clear is they don't want for us to create something that will kind of replace what they're doing. What they want us to do is to add value to what's already there. We also need to identify if there are any gaps in the current provision. So the current intentions is that we will roll this out as what we've termed a virtual hub. So this is where the partners will formally come together to ensure that we are working alongside each other, and that we can ensure that there is that transfer of information, and that customers can be directed to the right organisation. And the approach we use is a kind of no wrong door approach. So regardless of whichever partner that customer goes to, that they are enabled to refer that person, pass their information on, to the right partner organisation. That will be done through through our handover, and that will give us some data that will help us understand what sort of services the customers have identified that they need, is there existing provision, and what else that those customers might need. So that will help form sort of stage 2, which is when we then to start to look at actually what do we need to provide. So the very first stage, which we're actually looking to get up and running very quickly, is that virtual hub. So there will be a branding that we will all be able to use. There will be sort of joint training and a jointly agreed way of being able to share information across the organisations. So we will then build upon that to then identify what is needed, and at the end of this process we can identify exactly what is required, whether it's an additional hub in the council offices, whether it's our staff working closer alongside some of our partners, or something different. So what we didn't want to do is to preempt what we thought might be required. So this staged approach will enable us to improve the partnership working that we already have, build upon that, and then identify what the requirements are to provide what our customers need. Thank you, members. Very happy to take any questions.
Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Chair. Ms Green, I was at the One Malden district meeting here in the council offices on the 19th of December, and at other meetings my understanding was that it would be a physical hub in the council offices. That's what I took away at the end of that meeting. So I'm a little surprised to hear that it will just be a virtual hub. So I'm interested to learn what has occurred since that meeting on the 19th of December and now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fleming. So no one is saying that we're not going to provide a hub at the council offices. What we're going to do is to take it as a stage by stage and identify what the requirements are, and what partners potentially need to be at the council offices or at those hubs. So this is very much a staged approach. What we don't want to do is to jump straight from where we are straight into the delivery of a hub. What we want to do is to have a staged approach so that we can ensure that we have got our partners on board, we understand what those requirements are, and that we understand what the partner commitment is.
Councillor Fleming, you want to come back?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms Green. With all due respect, that was the 19th of December and we're now at the end of March. I could probably, it would take me an hour to write all of that down for you, what was needed, who could be here. So I'm puzzled by the delay, to be quite honest with you. Thank you.
Do you need to respond, Ms Green?
Thank you, Chairman. So there have been various meetings with our partners, and we have identified a couple of key partners to work with, which include the CVS, so they have been part of the working group. So part of that has been engaging more widely with the voluntary community and several meetings with the working group.
Councillor Siddle.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm as baffled as Councillor Fleming on this. Way back last year when we were talking about this community hub, it was about all the different partnerships, not just the CVS that were coming to do this. It was about the NHS. It was about having lots of different representation across the board. Ms Green says that there is already some community hubs. Could you tell me where those community hubs exist currently in the district? Where they physically are at the moment, because I don't know any. And the whole point of this was to bring a physical partnership with us and other bodies together so that people can have a drop-in centre and access a range of services all at the same time. We're now diluting this.
Have you got a list, Ms Green?
I don't have one available, Chairman. We are in the process of pulling that information together, and I'm very happy to do an update for members outside of this meeting.
Councillor Siddle, Ms Green hasn't got the list available, but she will supply them later. Did you want to come back on anything else?
So, Ms Green clearly stated what she just said, that there are currently community hubs existing. Are there or aren't there? Yes or no?
It's in the report, there must be.
Members, there are various hubs across the community, perhaps not in the way that they would be classed as our full community hubs, so they will be hubs that are led by voluntary organisations.
How long, Ms Green, would it take you to compile the list for Councillor Siddle and members?
One of my colleagues is already working on this, Chairman, so I'll need to provide. That shouldn't take too long.
Can you give any idea of any hub at the moment to tell us?
Members, my colleague, Mr Fulcher, is currently working on this. As I said, I'm very happy to provide a full update after the meeting for you.
Okay. Councillor Stamp. Councillor Hull.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Similar essence. I mean, when this One Malden group was formed and everything, it was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, I thought, or we were led to believe, and I don't think many things have actually come from it. Every update we get is it's progressing, this is happening, that's happening, and I've not seen anything tangent or that we could actually put a hook on. Or whatever the saying is today, Chairman. I am a little bit concerned in the fact of, and I will go on about this, and Councillor Mays was at a meeting with me the other day, and she's a great Green advocate for lack of paper. Well, and she made it quite clear that she was unhappy with me because I use paper. Chairman, I find it discriminatory that I am not provided with paper. And I feel that some of this report, because it actually says here, impact on the environment, reducing out printing, reducing out need for customers to travel to council offices, etc. And I put in big letters, discrimination. Yeah, I need to see in paper. I cannot use computer screens like the rest of you do for 12 hours a day without me having substantial headaches, problems, eye drops, etc. So I think we are being discriminative. And I also think by having virtual hubs, we are going back on the motion that we think at the last council meeting when we were doing an open door. If you're going to do virtual, how can people walk in on a virtual thing? It's not virtual, is it, Chairman? It is virtual, it's not encouraging customer service. And I see this as a backward step. And I'd like it noting that I do find it discriminatory that I do not get provided with paper copies, and it costs me £65 a month to actually print my own stuff off. Thank you.
Councillor White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm afraid I'm on a vein with everybody else. I mean, since lockdown, I understand that we lost a lot of the contact centre, but I think One Modern District's been brilliant. We have put forward a lot of strategies. We have been working well with the voluntary services. But I'm also certain that we agreed to have a member of staff available in the front office at all times, and their role was to contact the relevant departments should there be a problem so that they could get something resolved in the offices. And on 3.14 and 3.15, which is the refresh strategy recognises the need to have a strong focus providing additional support for our customers that are unable to use digital services, it then goes on to say to promote digital inclusion. And then 3.15 starts, evidence shows us that access to digital services provides a wealth of opportunities. Well, yes, if you're digital savvy, but we have an ageing population and we have people that need support. And I mean, I found our telephone contact centre very good, and I actually put forward that we extended the hours of the telephone operating system. I don't know what happened with that. And we can't leave this hub just to the voluntary services. We can't just leave it to the CVS or whoever's going to pick it up. And I think this is something I would like to see coming forward because it is vitally important, and it is something I've been asking for the last 4 years. So, you know, what happened to the officer we were going to have in the council offices to assist members of the public?
Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just really want to pick up the point that Councillor Stamp raised. I was under the impression that the last council meeting we passed a motion to say that there should be an open door policy from 9 to 5, and I can't see that this particular policy is in flow with that, and I would suggest that this is in fact lies in the face of that particular aspiration that was put forward by members back then. Thank you.
Councillor Lagan. Thank you, Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with everything that's been said, and I don't want to go over old ground and what it is, but I just want to share a small experience of why we had to motion so many motions in the past to get members' voices listened to. I put in my electoral papers, yes, I am standing. That's disappointed to some. And I came up, and the electoral officer, is it Claire? Mr. Holmes, is it Claire Hawke? Yeah, absolutely fantastic officer. I'll put that on record. Couldn't be more helpful. Exactly what an officer is. And while I was in there and handed it to Claire, she accepted. As I walked out, this very elderly lady and gentleman walked in, and they went up to the front desk, and the lad on the desk said, good afternoon, how can I help you? And the lovely lady said, I want to pay my council tax, please. And first thing he said, have you used the telephone system? Oh, love, I can't use that. This is nearly verbatim. I wish I'd have recorded it. And she said, have you used the online portal? And she went, no, love, we can't use that. And the bloke said, we don't know how to use that, love. And to his credit, the young lad behind the desk actually went across and said, well, look, I can help you, but you'll have to go behind this screen and do it. And I just wondered what that would have been like if we didn't have that presence there. So this really reinforces why we need to have bums on seats, faces facing people. And I know it's a collaborative approach, but I think that's the approach to go, because that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing on there. And I think it's absolutely critical. If you look at the resident survey performance, we're not performing incredibly well at all from the feedback from what the residents actually say. So I think it's an opportunity that we can take to increase that satisfaction with residents, not customers. Remember the distinction, the customers have a choice, residents don't. So that's just an observation to share with members and officers. Thank you.
Councillor Hull.
Thank you for listening. I'd just also like to say why it's so important. On Friday, a young 35-year-old lady was found in in Malden. She died 4 days previously. Her neighbours had to find her after reporting her several times to Peabody's. She had no bed. She was found in a cardboard box, and she just needed some help. So perhaps if something like this had been open a hub, she might have been able to come to it.
I think Miss Green wants to come back with some information or some further points before I go to Councillor Spenceley.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to reassure members that our reception service, which is manned by our customer services staff, is open 5 days a week as members requested from 9 till 4 every day. There's been that was implemented the day following Council's decision. So first of all, I wanted to reassure you with that. Secondly, it's absolutely our intention to implement further improvements and to deliver what is required by the community in terms of a community hub. As I said, this intention is to do it on a staged basis. So the first is put the first things in place, which is to get the building blocks in place with our partners, identify what partners are needed as part of the community hub, and then the third stage will be the delivery of the physical hub. We have done quite a lot of work with our voluntary partners, and there is concern expressed that if the council set up a hub initially, that it might draw people away from the existing support that is there. So this is being done alongside those existing hubs to ensure that we support what's already there, but to make sure that this will fill the gap. So I just want to reassure members this is not in any way, shape or form not to deliver the hub, but it's to do it in a staged approach. So what we're able to deliver is what is actually required, and we do have those partners on board that we're going to meet the needs of our most vulnerable customers.
Councillor Spenceley.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Well, first of all I'm going to say is having everything virtually is not a full solution to social isolation, and I hope that we can be reassured by what Mrs Green has just said, because I would hate to see this be a gradual excuse to not have the physical hub, and I really do take assurance from what Mrs Green has just said that of course that won't happen. I'd like to move on to the report, to the customer strategy itself on page 46 at paragraph 6, and we talk here about learning from customer feedback. And I hope that applies to all the contractors we use and services we provide through the website, because a resident of mine had a very strange experience recently where they'd waited for quite some time to have the large item collection resumed. When it was, they put in to have this mattress removed and were told that 3 days later they would get confirmation of when that would be collected. After 3 days, they'd received nothing at all, so they got in touch and then got an email back saying that an email had been sent to them telling them when it would be collected, but they claimed that they sent the email 3 days before the customer had asked for the mattress to be collected, so obviously that wasn't correct. So never mind, the date was there, but when they tried to feed back, it was on a no reply email. So you know, it concerned me on all sorts of levels, because I wondered how many mattresses were not being collected because nobody knew they were coming, and that kind of thing. But I just don't see, how we can honestly say that we're capturing both positive feedback and complaints and having a clear system if we're not ensuring that we've got that feedback and possibility there, because people won't just go somewhere else. They'll try to answer the email. Another thing was, and I've got one more thing, Chair. Coming to 3.3.2, where we're looking at the formal consultation on strategy, members, public and partners, I just wanted to ask the question of how that strategy, how that consultation would be led, what the strategy for that was, because I wouldn't like to see it just online, because obviously then we won't get all the feedback from that we need from people that don't use online services. Thank you.
Ms Green, can you answer that last question?
Certainly, Chairman. So our normal approach with any form of strategy is to ensure that consultation is done on paper as well as online. So we would normally put paper copies in libraries, GP surgeries, that kind of thing. So I can absolutely assure members that will be as inclusive as possible.
Councillor Stilts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whilst I agree with the... I'm sorry, Mr Chairman, I'm in the wrong meeting. Whilst I do agree with everything that's been said, I want to go back to something Councillor Fleming said. I was also on that meeting in December, and I believe we actually set up that working group at that meeting. How many times has that working group actually met? Why are we not now implementing this instead of a virtual hub?
Ms Green.
Members, I don't have that information to hand. I believe there has been at least 2 meetings, possibly 3 with our partners.
Thank you. Councillor Lagan, very briefly.
It's very brief. It's a question. Since the council offices were open the day after, which I really appreciate, and I know members do. Where's the publicity? Where are we shouting from the rooftops to say your council's open? I haven't seen any of that.
I think Councillor Fluker, do you really want to speak, or was you just being mischievous?
It was a question, Chairman. It was we should be celebrating. We should be inclusive.
I'll wait to see if there's more questions before I ask Ms Green to respond. Councillor Fluker.
I wanted to speak specifically to the strategy and the words in this report, so I will give way because Councillor Lagan's.
Ms Green.
Members, it is on our website. The ability to contact us and to make an appointment and to come to see us is on our website. There is a delicate balance with our digital first approach in that we want to sustain our current channel shift, but equally we do need to make sure that those customers that do need to come and see us are able to.
Well, Mr Chair, that's discriminatory. That's discrimination against people who can't go online.
Please,
like the 89-year-olds and like the people, get it in the Malden Burn, get in the Essex Chronicle, get it in papers. We're excluding
before
people.
Before I come to the leader, I'll remind Councillor Fluker.
Chairman, this thing about not accepting cheques and not having, because people don't have digital access. I mean, Miss Green will remember the time when my mother refused to pay her council tax because they didn't accept cheques anymore, and she wrote on it, "I'd rather go to prison," when she got a summons. And I'm sure Miss Green was thinking, "I wish your son would go as a proxy." But Chairman, I just wanted to talk to paragraph 3.2 and this business about right first time service delivery. I mean, Chairman, anybody that reads this who's engaged with the council, I mean, for example, Mr and Mrs B, 4 months ago, I took up a complaint with the council regarding some tree work. This is an elderly couple in Southminster. They put in an application to have a tree. Nobody's come back to them. So last night, parish council meeting, they throw pelters at me because of the lack of service and response. Mr N, Chairman, failed to get a response from the council over a planning application. Last September, he was waiting for a response from the council, nothing. He's just appealed for predetermination. I beg your pardon, predetermination, for non-determination. What is going on? When I took that up with the planning department, they said, "Oh, sorry." And I've got the emails, yeah? And the other thing is, Chairman, a councillor contacted the enforcement team on 4 occasions over 8 weeks regarding a case in a conservation area, neighbouring a listed building. I've actually said it was me. So, Chairman, several emails were exchanged over that 8-week period, and towards the end of that 8 weeks, it came to light that the the complaint had never been recorded. So, Chairman, when I read about the strategy, it concerns me enormously. We're saying to the customers they're being dealt with immediately and quickly through this strategy, but they're not. And Chairman, why, if a member asks a direct question of an officer by email, how many vacancies there are in the planning department, you don't get a reply? I presume the answer is no, because there's none being advertised on the website. Chairman, there is an old saying, and it says, keep weighing a pig won't make it grow fatter. And I'm sure you're aware of that. And I think what we need to do, well, it's an old farming expression. So basically keep going around. I mean, Chairman, we write these reports, and I know they're terribly well intentioned, but we do seem to be going around in circles. Rather than feeding the pig, we keep weighing it, and there isn't any change. And I think all of these points that the members have said this afternoon are well rehearsed. And it still doesn't seem as though they've been taken up. And if you go, even if you go into Tesco's now, and there's this, I don't know if you've seen it, Chairman, a wonderful thing whereby you self-service and this thing bleeps and everything comes up. There is always somebody there to help you. And I don't always think that's the case downstairs. And Chairman, of course, a point of order, it'd be a shame to stand up and not mention one. And Chairman, I would just direct you to paragraph 2 and remind you, Chairman, that this council has agreed not to have reports for noting presented to it. Thank you. No excuse.
I was going to point out that this is a report for noting, and I'm getting the clear, distinct impression that members are unhappy with this report. But there's no resolution to make on this. I'll come to the leader and perhaps... Oh, sorry, Councillor Stilts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to come back. My question, going on from what I asked, was who are our partners on the One Malden hub? And also, when we set up that working group, were you not on that working group, Miss Green?
Miss Green?
Indeed I was. I can get you a list of all the partners of the One Partnership. That's absolutely no problem at all.
Everybody had that, Mr. Chairman.
Can I ask Miss Green what would be the effect of further work on this? Is there a time scale on it? Miss Green?
Whether the timescale for the customer strategy is in the report, Chairman. In terms of a more detailed timetable and more detailed information about the community hub, very happy to bring a further report back on that to next council, Chairman.
Yeah, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, members, for your feedback this afternoon. And we are listening. I just wanted to remind ourselves that within our corporate plan, we do have an objective around providing good quality services. And officers at the moment are looking at a number of performance indicators. Some of the issues that you've highlighted this afternoon may well fall within those indicators, so you'll be able to track the performance and challenge through the normal as well. Also, remind us that we've talked about digital first, but meeting the needs of all customers, and that's what you're effectively saying. So, yeah, we absolutely understand that situation. It is in the corporate plan. We will develop those indicators, and you will get that tracking of performance. It's not there yet, but obviously it's coming.
Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, absolutely, this report was for an update, and obviously Mr. Holmes has just acknowledged comments members have made throughout points being raised, so I won't reiterate them all. And certainly, Ms. Green, thank you very much for answering all those points. Regarding the strategy, I'm one of those that actually, and Ms. Green will tell you this, has always said about elderly persons or those persons that don't have access to the internet or anything, or to go on the web. And I have had assurances that this strategy, as the report does highlight, will indicate that. It's got to obviously deliver, as the conclusion says, to customers, or I mustn't use the words, residents, clear approach to delivering quality services. That's what our customer needs or residents' needs are. and also ensure that it has availability as it does through one route, but also for those people that need to access a different way, telephone and face-to-face. I have been given assurances that will be the case. We need to be inclusive, and the report does highlight that. And going forward, the engagement set out with residents will be important, as will with members. And I'm fully confident that what will come back is a strategy that meets the needs that members have highlighted today. Regarding the One Malden partnership, I made a few notes on that. Quite disappointed to hear that people consider it's not really done anything, because I sit on that, as does Councillor Siddle, and I actually will refute that, because quite frankly it is a developing with a view to bring together key partners across this district to address the strategic issues around health, economy and community safety and support that affects us all. And I'm sure those members that do sit on it, including Councillor Fleming, will acknowledge that. And actually this past year, I would say, has actually seen the successful development and delivery of the One Malden District Partnership. It brings together those key strategic partners, and it is the NHS, and we've got an excellent chairman in Jane Gardner, who is the Deputy Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner, and the partnership has played a key role in the development of the Council's UK Shared Prosperity Fund programme, and has been the focus for partnership working in addressing the impact of the cost of living crisis on Malden District residents. We obviously as the council are doing that very much, but we have had great assistance through partnership and understanding the focus across all of our district for our residents at this time. It also, I would like to acknowledge that the One Malden District Community Services Guide has actually recently been featured by the Local Government Association as national best practice alongside the innovative storage container, storage centre for household essentials, which was developed as a community resource. And the Community Guide provides key information and support on health and wellbeing, energy saving tips and a host of other things. Now, admittedly, the work of the partnership is developing, and its emerging plan includes priorities which surround health and wellbeing, focusing on obesity, mental health, and addressing the suicide rate in our district. And those issues, I hasten to add, are also embedded in our corporate plan, which are vital to the overall wellbeing of our communities. And it is through this partnership working that we will be able to address the wider determinants of health, such as housing, economic opportunities and community safety. Now, the community hub, as I understand it, and a number of us was there, in fact, Councillor Siddle, Councillor Fleming, Councillor Stilts and myself, at that meeting where it was discussed, and I do recall it going away. The working group has met. I thought there were subgroups as well. And indeed, not only should it be this council have an awareness of it, but actually that body shall be reporting back to the One Malden District Partnership. That is my understanding as well. It's very vital that that body from which this was born is kept up to speed and has a viewpoint as well as this council. And Chairman, I think I'll end it there. It was really a report for noting, but I will actually stand in defence of the One Malden District Partnership. It is a good partnership. It is a fundamental partnership going forward for this authority and helps us with everything we need to deliver in terms of resilience, and it will bring benefit to this council's residents. Sorry. Well, I'm just answering because there was criticism of it during the thing. And regarding the customer strategy, I would highlight and the community hub will both or should support individual and community resilience. Thank you, Chairman.
The leader has summed up, but I think Councillor Siddle wants to say a few words.
Thank you, Chairman. Nobody is criticising the One Malden principle. Nobody's criticising the work that has taken place. Everybody values what we've put together. What we're disappointed in is where we are at the moment in terms of the community hub and the principle now that it seems to be this virtual thing rather than a physical thing. I would rather it escalate to a physical thing sooner rather than this virtual thing. And that's where the thing. So I know that all members are very supportive of One Malden because it's a fantastic initiative. So there is no criticism of One Malden. It's just the fact that perhaps we're a little bit disappointed with where we are in terms of the community hub.
Thank you, Councillor Siddle. I believe that the officers have, and Mr. Holmes has alluded to it, that he has noted members' concerns. So if I ask you to note the report and the comments that have been made.
Noted.
Is that acceptable? Agreed? Can I have a more assertive? Agreed? Agreed?
Noted.
Good, thank you. Now we got agenda item 13, questions to the Leader of the Council in accordance with Procedure Rule 13M. Councillor Stilts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did send my question to the Leader beforehand so that she can have a response to this. I have been asked by a member of the public, so that is what has brought this question about. And it's regarding the annual season ticket at Prom Park. And I understand that the charges have gone up, but what I don't understand is why we are only allowing our season tickets holders 2 hours a day. A parking permit for Essex County Council parks costs £60 a year and allows parking from sunrise to sunset 7 days a week. We are promoting our tourism, and some of our season ticket holders will be people that actually work in that tourism industry, and we are going to stop them because they can only use that season ticket for 2 hours. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I've been promoted. Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll make sure I get it right because it could be infectious. Can I thank Councillor Stilts? Yes, she did sort of give an indication that this question would be coming forward. So in response to that, what I would like to say is the policy for the car park permits for Prom Park has not changed for 2023 to 2024, save for the annual percentage increase. There was a change of policy and charge that was approved by members for 2022-23. Now that would have gone through, that would have been in that budget, so that would have gone through that year, 2020, in fact it went, yes, it would have gone through the Strategy and Resources Committee and the Finance Working Group prior to that. Details of the background of the change I'm now going to give you. So I'd just like to say, going forward, we have secured funding to undertake a review of car park charges and development of a car park charging strategy during 2023. And that again has been highlighted to members, both at the Finance Working Group and indeed at Strategy and Resources. And that will include a review of car parking concessions. Now, member involvement in the development of the strategy will be through the reinstatement of the car parking task and finish working group. In fact, I asked that question when the item was under consideration regarding car parks at the Strategy and Resources Committee. Now, the outcome of that work will be brought back to members to consider a mid-year review of car park charges and to inform the 2024-25 car park charges going forward. Now, there are actually still 2 permits available for the Prom Park. A full permit that allows parking all day and a 2-hour permit such as for dog walkers. Now, this is where I referred to 2022-23 and that was the budget setting. I became leader in January 19th, I think it was, and I presented the budget as was, but prior to that I obviously wasn't the leader and I wasn't the chairman of Strategy and Resources. In 2021, the car parking permit charges were reviewed in order to ensure consistency across car parks. This identified that non-residents using the Prom Park were able to purchase an annual car park permit for substantially less than the local residents. Given the proximity to the high street, this presented an inconsistency in that residents who live and work in Malden were paying significantly higher car park costs than someone that worked in Malden but lived outside the district. In 2021-22, there were 3 non-resident permits issued, which represented 0.001% of the total car park income for the Prom. To ensure consistency, the car park permits for Prom Park were brought into line with the permit costs for other car parks. However, a new 2-hour permit was introduced, and I'm now talking about that year where the considerations were made, for the prom to ensure residents who use the car park for short stays, such as dog walking, could do so without a proportionate cost. The changes were proposed and agreed as part of actually the 2022-23 fees and charges policy and fee sitting, which would have started in 2021 and gone through Strategy and Resources Committee and then on to Council when they'd agreed the budget. During the 2023-24 fees and charges setting process, members did raise the possibility of a resident scheme. As mentioned, the remit of the car parking charging strategy will include a review of concessions, both for resident and non-resident charges. I hope that's a full response to help me. I'm happy to give you a copy of that response and also circulate it to all members if that helps.
Yeah, Councillor Stamp.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully the response I get from the leader might be a little bit shorter.
Oh, sorry.
Mine is, I attended a scrutiny training meeting this morning regarding cabinet systems with Essex County Council. And it piqued something in my little mind, Chairman and Leader, is that if in the near future things change here, and if this administration stays the same, or if we get a different administration, do you as the leader, or would you as the leader, support a cabinet system with all its challenges that it brings and lack of training and skill, etc.? Would you support it coming to the Malden District Council, leader? And if you say yes or no, can you give your reasons? Only shortly reasons though.
Well, you know, I could give a whole book on that, possibly, Councillor Stamp. You want my views on it? This council has retained a committee system, and I've been here, like Councillor Boyce, a fair number of years. And in fact, we did try a cabinet hybrid systems a number of years ago. I was not in agreement with that, but I obviously went with the council decision that was applied. Then I can tell you at that time, because this all came about, I think, largely because of the Localism Act 2011 and everything. And then what happened was there was a move to try and make, I'm sure Councillor Boyce will correct me if I'm wrong, to go with the cabinet system. And it went to consultation and that it fell. So therefore I upheld what the residents wanted, and we've retained a cabinet system ever since. I will be frank, committee system. Oh, I'm getting caught up now. I can see pros and cons with both. Obviously the cabinet system, where I think it does create more marginalisation for some members because they become what I would call true backbenchers in that terminology, and indeed it then gives one person, the leader, the chance or power, yes, to appoint exactly who they want. Now, with a council like ours, where the numbers are, very, very close, I suppose there could be perceived benefits where it would have helped situations, because getting seats on committees and making sure there was a balance. But actually, I think my views, I've been a supporter for a committee system for a long while. Certainly I know the residents in my ward, unless anything has changed, in fact it was very vocal in my ward at the time we did do that consultation. And what I would say is I'm aware of councils that actually adopted a cabinet system and have reverted to committee. And likewise, I know the other way around, where committee has gone. What I would say, having been an Essex County Councillor, I can see how actually it speeds up business on occasions, and County Council is a big beast, much bigger than this. So actually there's a lot more going on. It has the benefits of an overview and scrutiny committee, is what I would call a very true overview and scrutiny committee. It can actually summon people. We have a good overview and scrutiny committee. We have to function in a slightly different way than you would under a cabinet. But
is that a no then?
I think largely I come down. I'm used to a committee system. I have been on the cabinet. I could see the benefits, but largely I think I'm hoping whatever comes forward after elections or anything, the council has a right to consider governance structures. I'm aware that some probably are at the moment. I think I come down on committee system because it involves, and actually I'll tell you a gentleman who actually so I think there's a sign at the back there.
Chairman, there's a 15-minute rule. I think that the leader of the council is filibustering.
You're taking up the 15 minutes.
I'm sorry, I find that very offensive to accuse me of filibustering.
Well, I think you are.
Chairman, can we move on?
I'm answering Councillor Stamp.
You said you don't support.
No, what I want to say is I actually met a gentleman called Tony Wedgwood Ben. And yes, I've never forgotten his words. He asked me what the governance was at this council, and I said committee. Now, bear in mind where views may have come from. He said, very good, don't ever change it. It's the most democratic way to operate a council. Thank you.
Councillor Lagan.
Thank you.
You're next, Councillor Fluker.
Thank you. I'm going to be very, very short. It's prompted me to ask the leader, would the leader support more of a global publication strategy to allow the residents of the district to know that the council offices are open?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Thank you. That's a very good question. I can answer it very simply. Yes.
Councillor Fluker.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, Chairman, if the piece of paper that I was shown today is correct, then which came from the Morden Constituency Conservative Association, then Councillor Chano is indeed standing down at the end of this administration. I think, Chairman, before you start the clock, I would just like to pay tribute to Councillor Chano. She led the planning and licensing, she chaired the planning and licensing committee through a very difficult period, Chairman, and also delivered the local development plan, and you should be remembered for that. And everything
I
you put
delivered the local development plan.
Well, Chairman, there we go. Anyway, yes, I presume, Chairman, you delivered it in an envelope to please.
No,
but never mind.
no, I delivered it to a van
Chairman, I'm anxious of the time, and I have 3 questions, so I don't know. And bear in mind, we're here
carry
to
on,
5
you're
o'clock.
using your time.
Chairman, my motion to council delivered the corporate plan 4 months early. And what I wanted to ask the leader was, apart from increasing council taxes, increasing parking charges, and fees and charges generally, and proposing a budget of a £2 million overspend in the next 2 years, and presiding over what can only be described as a heartbreaking and massive rise in homelessness and the council waiting list. What else have you achieved, leader, in the last 12 months? And why would anybody vote Conservative in May?
I think the purpose of questions to the leader has a caveat that says not to continue with business that's previously been
it does.
mentioned. So I'm going to have to disallow that question. Yeah. Okay.
Which, I mean, really and truly, Chairman, I find that ruling. What a load of old... I won't read the final word that's just been texted to me. But anyway, I think that's extraordinary, Chairman, because I think that the people of this district need to understand the political policies of those that administrate this council. So my next question...
The Constitution.
My next question, Chairman, is... Leader, are you satisfied with the income that's being generated through the corporate project strategy?
Councillor Fluker, that has actually been discussed, as you well know, at the Finance Working Group, where I'm very well aware of your views. The corporate strategy going forward, or the commercial strategy I think you're referring to, as you know, falls very much many of those projects within a certain working group. So I'm not going to expand on that. And also, Chairman, I would say there's various things coming up later, which I cannot now go into in detail because of the confidential nature of them. So it's early days, I would say, but actually I would say it was refreshed and renewed, as you recall, only recently. In fact, I referred to it, I believe, in either the budget statement or my leader's statement, and it is moving forward. And we have certain reports coming forward. So I hope very much. We have already had one come forward before, which I can't go into detail, and I was very disappointed with the result of this council on that. So, Chairman, it's not a case of our officers. Sometimes we have to look to members that may be delaying things. Thank you.
Your next question, Councillor Fluker.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for your generosity. Look, I know that was a tricky question, and clearly it wasn't answered, so I put the leader down.
It was answered.
Well, I think I just asked were you satisfied, and I never got the answer to the question. So I'll accept the leader's neither satisfied nor unsatisfied. Chairman, I proposed a motion to this I proposed a motion to this council regarding the local development plan and emerging policies. And I remember, and I've listened to the tape, and I can remember that senior members of this council said that the Healer document, was not an emerging policy. So can you explain to me why, Leader, and bearing in mind those comments from senior members of the council and from officers, why Mr. Kenman Lane, the planning inspector, actually concluded that they were?
I don't quite understand that, Leader, but I'm sure you do.
Well, I think I know what I think I know what Councillor Fluker is referring to and the issue he wants me to expand on. However, what I'm going to say is, regarding that matter, which you've now highlighted in this chamber, this is a complex and nuanced issue in which the comments on costs are the area in which the inspector focuses comments on the Healer rather than the appeal decision itself. And I can tell you, Councillor Fluker, there was a response given to you. You did have an email. Officers are still reviewing detail and will respond in due course, and I'm making no further comment today regarding that. But you have had the same emails that I have. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Chairman. So, going back to my previous comment, would you agree with me that that's just a case of weighing the pig? Because, Chairman, Leader, this is an incredibly important thing. I need an answer for this council, Leader, through you, over what's going on. Last night, a planning application, Leader, came to Southminster Council for 249 houses, with a note from the applicant saying the site had been approved by the policy team of this council. Bearing in mind there's been no input from members into the decision making over the call for sites, do you believe that's correct?
Leader.
Chairman, I thought I'd answered the points raised, and what I would say, I'm not sure what Councillor Fluke is talking about that went to Southminster Parish Council last night, or what he was asked there. What I will say is, Chairman, at this time, because of the association with something else, I'm not prepared to make any comment. And what I would say, we were told, and I do recall that during some meetings, the Healer is evidence and not policy. Thank you.
15 minutes are up.
I'm not commenting any further, Chairman.
15 minutes are up, members, on questions to the Leader. I think we've slightly gone above. So we now come to agenda item 14, business by reason of special circumstances considered by the chairman to be urgent. I have no such business. I cannot move the 15, the exclusion of the public and press, because we have to start again at 7 o'clock with the information that Councillor Fluker required regards the minutes.
Point of order.
What's your point of order?
Chairman, this is to do with the summons issued in advance of council meetings. And Chairman, the summons that's been issued has to take precedence over any other correspondence. And Chairman, look, I know you're totally...
I've already...
You have, Chairman, but I think because I know that people now, obviously we're going to go into private and confidential. But again, you're bringing us all back this evening. This seems to be a welfare issue.
It's not my wish.
Chairman, it's your agenda. And Chairman, I haven't actually finished...
I arranged the agenda as best I was able with the information I had at that time. Now, officers are not available to continue with the evening meeting. They've been arranged to be on call from 7 o'clock.
But Chairman, we've got three directors here. Surely they can deal with this. If they can't, then they're not briefed themselves. I find this, and you can't go against the summons, Chairman.
Councillor Fluker, I would love to continue the meeting now, but there are members that are expected to turn up this evening. Yes, there are. And I'll continue to what I've said, so that is not a point of order. I cannot move the exclusion of the public and press because we have to come back for the information that Councillor Fluker requires. So I'm adjourning until 7.
Thanks.